Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to a brand new Brawl Stars video, and today we're going to be talking about how the trophy system in Brawl Stars is completely and utterly broken, and it's poorly designed, and I want to explain what this means for you as a player. My goal for this video is to get you all to really understand and see why this trophy system is such a big issue for the long term of the game, and hopefully we can convince Supercell to fix this problem, because honestly it's going to drive a lot of players away from the game if it hasn't already. So back when the game was first released, it was a lot harder to actually push trophies in the game. I remember that I was struggling just to get all my brawlers up to rank 15, and I know I wasn't that good at that time, but it still was completely different than it is today. And then more recently, I guess last year, it was more of like rank 20 was my upper limit, and it took a long time for me to get really good at a specific brawler and push it all the way up to rank 20, and it felt like an accomplishment at that time. And there was the trophy reset in place just last year, which I think is a good addition to the game. It sort of allows players to have an end game and still feel like they're gaining a lot of trophies each season while not pushing infinitely, because that would just collapse the entire game. So I do think that the trophy reset is good, but then they changed the trophy system and it completely ruins the whole point of the trophy reset. And this was in July 2019, so it's a long time ago, but they still haven't fixed this issue today. So that's why I'm really bringing it up now in this video 6 months later. But in that July 2019 update, Supercell reworked the trophy system so that it was significantly easier to gain trophies at a lower level. And you can see in these tables here exactly what the trophy counts are currently for winning or losing in any of the given modes. And I'll explain what the averages on the side mean later. But Supercell said that they changed this because they felt that it was still too difficult to progress to 500 trophies and beyond, and that they wanted to improve the trophy progression experience in general and encourage playing brawlers even after reaching rank 20. And personally, I feel like this did the exact opposite for everything they just mentioned. So you can see in these tables, right now, the average for each individual level represents how many trophies you would gain if you were to have a 50% win-loss ratio. So for like 3v3, for example, if it was just randomly determined whether or not you won or lost, that average would tell you approximately how many trophies you would gain per game that you play. So obviously, from 0 to 49 trophies, if you gain 8 for winning and you lose nothing when you lose the game, then on average you're going to gain 4 trophies, because you'll win half and lose half, so that averages out to 4. But then notice that this average is equal to 0 at the 700 to 799 trophy range for all modes. This isn't just a specific issue to one mode. So that means that if you were to have your placements randomly determined, say in solo showdown, if there was just a random number generator generating whether or not you got from 1st to 10th, and you just played a million games, for example, you would balance out at about the 700 to 799 point. That's where your trophy count would stop, because if you go any further, on average you'd be losing trophies, and if you go any lower, on average you'd be gaining trophies. So it sort of is the break-even point for the trophy system. And essentially, that means that if you have a 50% win rate, you're going to break even at 700 to 799 trophies. It's sort of hard to say like a win rate for solo showdown, but essentially that just means like for every 1st place, you'll get a 10th place, for every 2nd, you'll get a 9th, for every 3rd, you'll get an 8th, and so on. For 3v3, it's a lot more straightforward. For every win, you'll get a loss. That's just a 50% win rate. And if you are able to achieve that, then you should be able to push up to 700 to 799 trophies on every single brawler that you can get that win rate on. And this to me makes completely no sense whatsoever, because it means that over half of the people are going to be able to push to 700 to 799 trophies just given enough time. And in a sense, this completely takes the skill aspect out of it almost entirely. Now, who has the most trophies isn't a matter of who has the most skill, but rather who has the most time. And now obviously this argument does fall apart towards the higher trophy ranges. Obviously you need a ton of skill to be able to push your brawlers up to 1000 and above, but at this range between 500 and 800 or so, it's not that hard because most people are able to do it given enough time. But now the issue with this comes in when you consider people who don't have that time. Like for someone who is a casual player. They can only play so often every season, but they are really good at the game. They won't be able to push up to 900 trophies every season. That's simply impossible given their time. But they could be good enough to get there, but they don't have enough time to play that many games and push their brawlers up that high. Whereas people who play a lot but might not be that good are also able to push up to the same range as that person who might be really good at the game. And this completely screws with the matchmaking. Because people are all scrunched into this 500 to 800 range here, you're going to match people who could be really good with people who could be really bad, but just have a lot of time on their hands. So this is part of the reason why people get stuck with such bad random players in matches. And they did just release the last update that lets you create your party beforehand, but I don't think this really fixes that issue because you don't really know how good a player is until you already play with them a couple games and lose trophies if they are bad. So this really messes with the matchmaking, and it's only because so many people are able to push into this trophy range regardless of whether or not they have skill, simply because it's so easy to push trophies since you're not losing as much as you are gaining. And this doesn't just screw with the matchmaking, it also just sort of ruins the fun of the game. There's not really an objective for you to try to push towards. Before, when it was very difficult to even make it to 500 trophies, you felt accomplished when you just got like a couple more extra trophies on your top brawler, and you would slowly get better at the game and push them ever so slightly higher, and you could see your improvement reflected in your trophy count. But now, every time you push trophies, they're going to get taken away at the end of the season. So it's true that you could try to get a higher record on your brawler each season, but that's not necessarily a reflection that you're improving. It's a reflection that you're spending more time on this specific brawler. So it ruins the fun that people can get from the trophy system in general. Now it's just a matter of grinding rather than actual improvements. Now the only fun of the game comes from the actual gameplay, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the game was so much more fun when you could see the improvement reflected in your trophies. And now for so many people, that's not the case because everyone can easily push to that 500 trophy mark. And also, the whole point of that season reset and that endgame is for the players who want to play a lot. And it makes sense. If you're resetting their trophies every season, it doesn't matter because they're the grinders. They're going to play this game a lot. They've dedicated a lot of their time to this game, so it's not too bad for them to push more and more every season and try to get a slightly higher trophy count. That does reflect their skill at a high level. But the thing is, the trophy reset no longer comes at a high level because so many people are able to push to this point, because a break even for a 50% win rate is so high above this trophy reset. So even more than half of these players are going to be at that trophy reset point. So it really contradicts the whole purpose of the season reset, which is meant to be for those who invest a lot of time in the game. And now it's simply something for everyone to do regardless of whether or not you can invest time in the game and regardless of your skill level. So when Supercell claims that they made this change because they felt that it was still too difficult to progress to 500 trophies, I completely disagree with that whole notion because I think it should be difficult to progress to 500 trophies. I think that reflects whether or not you're getting better at the game, and I think it's a sort of objective to work towards and not just something that reflects whether or not you spent time on the game. And they said that they did this to improve the trophy progression experience in general and encourage playing brawlers even after reaching rank 20, but I think it's the exact opposite. I feel less inclined to push brawlers after reaching rank 20 because I know that it's just going to get reset in the end. If I want to push 300 trophies in a season, I could. It'll take all of my time and I won't even be able to push any other brawlers because I don't have the time to push all my brawlers that much. But then it's just going to get reset in the span of like 2 or 3 seasons back down to 500 if I don't constantly push those 100 trophies every season. And for some people, you just can't keep doing that every single season. And so the trophy reset really pushes me away from wanting to push my brawlers past rank 20, and I only do it because I find it really fun to play those specific brawlers. But other than that, I'm getting no enjoyment out of the actual trophy system itself, and I think that defeats the entire purpose of the trophy system in general. So I really think they should change it back to how it was in the beginning, where there is still the trophy reset, the end game for players who have invested a lot of time in the game and have gotten really good and deserve to be up at that high spot and compete with others to push the highest every season. But it shouldn't be for everyone. It shouldn't be for a majority of the players. It should be very difficult to get to that rank 20, to get to the end game, because that's the whole point of the end game. You shouldn't be able to get there with very low skill. So that is my opinion on this system. If you do have any counter arguments or whatever, do leave them in the comments below. I am open to hearing this, but also let Supercell know about this, because I think it's very crucial to the life of the game, because I think it takes away a very fun aspect of the game that used to be there and now is no longer there, and they haven't really made any changes to it. I thought there would be a decent amount of backlash after this in July, but they haven't changed anything since then. So it seems to me like they think it's fine, but I really disagree with that, and I think that this trophy system change had more negative effects than it did positives. So that's my opinion. Hopefully we can get them to change it in the near future, because I think it is very bad for the lifespan of the game. But that's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and a comment down below if you did, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. But that's all for today, guys, so see you later.